All right, everybody, we had a customer bring in this unit for bass suspension, and we're going to be using Bounce Be Gone. We're going to walk through and see if this takes care of it. And we're also going to show you what this unit looks like right now with bass suspension and what bass suspension looks like. So we're going to show you that first, and then we're going to go through the process of installing the Bounce Be Gone and see if we can refurbish the existing suspension. We also have brand new suspension rods that are going to go in here, but first we're going to see if we can try to refurbish them and bring them back to life with Bounce Be Gone, and to see if it's cost effective and compare this to, brand new suspension. So let's get into it. All right, so let's talk about how to test for fast suspension. You want to push down on your agitator and it should come to a complete stop. What you don't want is that right there, like it's on springs. So you're going to push down and it's going to feel like it's very springy, like it's just coming back and wobbling all over the place. That's how you know you got fast suspension. Here's a side view to show you how much it's wobbling back and forth. As you can see, it's almost like you're riding on springs instead of dampening pads, which is what you should be riding on. Right here is a back view, and you can see you're really just compressing the springs, and the dampening pads are doing absolutely nothing. This is a perfect example of having bad suspension. You don't want to replace one, you want to replace all. Alright, so to get started, we're going to start by removing the 2 1/4-inch screws on the back tabs, as you see right here. Right above them, there will be 2 slits, and that's what they need to clip onto. As you can see here, the 2 slits right above your tabs. Alright, next what you want to do is bring it forward, push back about a 1/4 inch, and raise up. That's going to let you kind of snap back into those tabs. As you can see right there, that's what you're trying to accomplish. Alright, before we get too far, we want to talk about the lid. Because when you raise the top, what you might have is that the lid will fly open. You want to avoid this. So you can use a piece of tape across the front right here, or in our scenario, we're going to lock this lid. So let's go ahead and enter diagnostics, and that's going to be left, right, 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 left, right. All the lights will light up. There's 3 clicks to the right, and you'll have the final spin and the done light lit together. Go ahead and hit start. You're in manual mode. Hitting again will lock the lid. Now go ahead and unplug your unit and your lid will stay locked. And this will let you be able to work on the unit without having to worry about it. Once you plug the unit back in, the lid will unlock. Alright, use some type of rope, bungee cord, whatever you have to be able to stabilize that top. Another option that you'll have is to lean this unit against the wall and let that top panel rest on the wall. You want to make sure that you are not pinching the wire harness or cutting into your pressure tube. In this scenario here, we do have quite a bit of room, so we are not pinching or cutting into our pressure tube whatsoever. Alright, so when you're replacing suspension rods, you can do 1 at a time, or you can do 2. But when you do 2, you want to make sure that you're doing the 2 that are across from each other, like the rear left to the front right, or the right rear to the front left. That is how you want to do it. Now we'll stabilize the basket enough for you to be able to do 2 suspension rods at the same time. To remove the suspension rod, you're going to go down in between the cabinet and the tub, lift up on the rod and remove the suspension rod holder there. That is the support for your suspension rod. Now on this unit here, we'll have to push the suspension rod through the tub support, right through the tub support down there. Some tubs do have cutouts that let you easily remove it. Unfortunately on this unit, we'll have to just push it through, lock our top back in place, lean the unit back, and just fish that suspension rod through the bottom of our tub. As you can see, I'm just going to pull it right out. There it is. And that is the old suspension rod. Alright, so in our packaging, we do have the package slip and then the contents, which is going to be 4 of our dampening pads there. Those are going to be the foam inserts, a popsicle stick, and that bounce be gone grease that we really need. When you're going to do this, make sure that you are using some gloves because it does get messy. So some disposable gloves are going to be your best friend on this. And let's just show you here what has failed. Because believe it or not, it's not the springs that we're worried about. The springs really are not going to be what fails. It's what's failing is this dampening pad right here. As you can see, there's actually no friction there. There's no resistance. It is just free movement. So here is a new suspension rod, and you can see I'm kind of jerking it back and forth, and there's hardly any movement, so it is giving some type of resistance there. And this is going to be due to that grease and those dampening pads, those foam inserts that go inside. As you can see on the old one, there's just no resistance to it whatsoever. Alright, so we're going to use a flathead screwdriver. As you can see, you want to make sure you're using the right one, as a thick flathead screwdriver won't fit, but we get the skinny flathead screwdriver, it'll pop right up. So having the right tool makes a huge difference. And here's a view at those dampening pads, the little foam inserts. It's inside the actual housing there, and those foam inserts, those have to be replaced. So we're going to use our flathead screwdriver, get in between that foam insert and the housing, and start prying up on it. Now, depending on how old or how degraded they are, they might start coming out in pieces. Otherwise, you might be able to kind of stick it in there and grab it and pull away from it and get it to come out of its housing. And there's the view of the reservoir that we'll need to make sure we are putting some extra grease in right there. Right now, let's cut our pad. Let's go ahead and cut out our foam inserts. Make sure you do clean all the debris out of the way. And then just get your new foam inserts. They already have slits into them. They should just slide right onto the main shaft of your suspension there. Now, this is my first time doing it, and I do add a little bit too much. I prefer to have too much than not enough. But this stuff does go a long way. This tube of grease, that should do about 4 sets of suspension rods. But as you can see, I just spread it around. You want to cover the full foam inserts. You might want to apply some to the shaft so it can glide into the foam inserts. You want to do this above and below it. And then also at this point, you want to just apply some inside of that little reservoir that will hold that grease. And you really just want to scoop it in there. Once the unit starts to work with that suspension, it will kind of spread it out. That's it. At that point, you can just, all you're going to do is pretty much compress your suspension rod, and that's going to seal it and close it up. Anything that you might have left over, you can just rub it onto the shaft. Take your popsicle stick here and just pour a little bit, get a little bit into that shaft right below it, so when it rides down into the shaft, some of it will go into that foam insert. And that's it. Let's do all 4 suspension rods and see how she does. And as you can see, we got that resistance back. It's definitely dampening a little bit better now. It's not free movement. Let's go throw this back on. And this is after all 4 have been refurbished with that balance be gone, and you can see it's back to new. It took me 15 minutes to do all 4, so it's not something crazy. It's really simple. As you can see on that back view, all 4 are right back to working as they should, and this unit is back to working as designed. Alright, so now let's talk about installing new suspension rods, and what we want to talk about is going to be the suspension supports and the bushings. The bushings are these little white clips, and not all washers have them, and a lot of Whirlpool newer units will not have them on the newer models. So to remove it, you want to just push up from the bottom. You will feel the little clips from underneath and push up and just remove it. Again, if your unit does not have them, do not put them back. They will come with your suspension, but if you do not have bushings, do not put new bushings in place. Now, your suspension supports might look a little bit different, and that's just because they've been upgraded and they might look a little bit different, or they might still look like the same ones. And it really is going to depend on your suspension rods. But as far as the install goes, they're about the same. Now, it might take you a little bit to kind of see how it needs to all slide in place, but once it's in, as you can see, we're right back to being able to dampen that tub movement. Alright, and this is just another view of removing that suspension support. Just lift up on the suspension, get the support, and pull it right off. From underneath, now to put them back in, this is to show how to reinstall the suspension. The unit will have to be leaned back because you'll need to line up the suspension rod into the slots in the tub that hold the suspension in place. Right there, as you see, some units now will have a cutout where you won't have to do it from the bottom. You'll be able to do it from the top side of the unit. I'm just peeling back some of this excess plastic for manufacturing. It's just getting in my way. But you want to make sure the rod is not, in any way preventing this unit from coming down. You want to make sure you're not crushing that suspension when you're putting the system down. And then to install, it's going to be the same way. Lift up on the suspension rod, put your supports in, drop it in place. And that's it. Not much to it. Alright, and this is with new suspension. As you can see, between Bounce Be Gone and new suspension, they're going to be the same. So Bounce Be Gone is a cheaper and faster alternative to replacing full suspension, and they work great. See you on the next video.